Witness the moment. Take it in. Enjoy it. It's all good, Rion. We doing whatever we want to do. So
Yeah, doing the best we can.
yeah,
Much.
this is us. That's the point. That's the whole point. As long as it's love and it's responsible and it's black, we with it.
All right. All
We
right.
with it. However, it gotta go down. Oh, this is exciting. Isn't this
I
exciting?
I think it's I
I'm
think it's on you. I got
it's,
right now. I'm only recording the multi-stream, right? So I'm not recording any isolation from anybody because it sounds kind of level already, and we
mm,
need to just get something going, right? We'll work out any
Okay.
kinks afterwards.
mm,
So
mm, mm, mm,
it's already
mm.
recording. So whenever you're ready to get it started,
Oh,
go
it
ahead.
is?
Yeah.
All right, all right. Let me do what I do. Peace, peace, peace. Choose to inspire, not destroy podcast, episode one. We are here. We finally made it, and it's gonna be a movement. We got Rion. Peace, King. Peace, King. Say what's up to the people. Kofi,
What's
my
up?
brother. Peace, King. Peace,
What's
King.
up?
Kofi, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody?
Brandon, peace, King. Peace, King. Say what's up to the people.
Yo, what's good? Everybody, what up? What up?
All right. Oh,
Oh, wait, we just lost Kofi
what happened?
immediately.
No, no.
Yeah, Kofi just went
Just
out.
that quick. Technical difficulty. I didn't even get all the way through the intro, but we're gonna hold it down for him till he gets back.
Yeah, I say just keep going. When he logs back in, I'll be able to add him. So we'll just keep it like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Will be.
Nah, keep rolling. Keep the
Keep going.
podcast going.
Oh,
Yeah.
we were still
He's
going.
coming. Yeah, he's coming
I
back right
thought you
now.
paused
He'll be
it.
back in a
All right,
second.
all right, all right. We finally made it. We here. We here to do something different. Company, be strong, be men, be together. Talk about our families. Talk about our losses, our gains, the things we want, and the things we need to help us grow into the type of individuals that we really want to be. It's very important to be conscious of the man you are, the man you're becoming, and the man you want to be. So we're just attacking some things. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be like. This is a first for us also. It's a new experience.
Yo,
All right,
yeah,
all right now,
we love it, but
all right now.
I'm gonna mute you if she's
Uh,
coming in too hot, just so that we're not
yeah,
overloading.
yeah, yeah. Cause, 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 cause I'm in my bag right now. We just trying to do something. We just trying to talk, have some conversations, and vibe. Have a few moments, solve a few issues, and be there for each other. You know, it's hard to express sometimes that you need somebody to be there for you. You need somebody to understand what you're going through, or even if they just need to hear you out and you want to express yourself a certain way. That's just what we're here for. I'm here for my brothers. I'm glad my brothers are here for me. And we'll see where it goes. We're choosing to inspire, not destroy. Destroying is over. We're here to build. We're here to learn. We're here to move forward and grow. B, what's up? You want to say something to the people? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm glad that I know you've been toying with this idea for a bit. I'm glad to be a part of it. Looking forward to see how everything turns out. I'm rooting for everybody black. You know what it is. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Kofi. Let me know. Let me know something, bro. What's up? Yeah, I get it. I get it. I've been waiting all day. I've been waiting honestly since the last time we sat and we spoke about this to understand what made y'all want to be a part of a podcast. What made you want to take time out of your life to sit down and talk to me, talk to each other, to just to do this thing because this is something that really just came out of nowhere. We didn't sit around and be planning this. We wasn't talking about this for weeks or months. It wasn't a something that we built. It was just like, all right, I was thinking about it and I knew I wanted you guys to be a part of it. So I reached, I put a shot up and I wanted to see if it would land. And fortunately for me, it did because we're here, episode one. And I just want to thank y'all off the rip from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate y'all wanting to do this, and I'm looking forward to see where it goes. I'm looking forward to doing it with y'all, 100%.
Thank you for the invite.
Oh, Rion is back. He's in the building.
We see how long this holds up.
Yeah, well, we got to start with you then, I guess. Since get you started and out the way. What made you want to be a part of a podcast? What made you want to be a part of this podcast? Should I say this idea?
Well, this idea is a bit unique, meaning as Black men or just Blacks in general ain't really told to, or you're not really told to like seek mental health and mental wellness. You need, how can I say it? We're raised to be like a little harder than the rest, and we don't really share too much of our like experiences, and we don't find those outlets in those other venues where other people, are able to, and are a little bit more comfortable to do. So this was right up my alley, especially when you're getting older, starting to develop a family. COVID definitely would have you. Perfect timing, because you need that mental health, you need that mental wellness, and why not, join a couple brothers that are ready to speak and open up, and that's my thing.
Yeah, I can dig it 100%. I feel the same way. I feel like it was the right time for me. It was the right time. Kofi, how about you?
Yeah, I think it was the right time. I think it's more of a therapeutic thing. I think so like I go to therapy twice a week. I want to say maybe more. I don't know. And I feel like the more you can talk about stuff that's on your mind, the better off you are, and the less crazy you are, because then you start to find some people that might agree with you, and not just yourself, right? And then you start going into that whole manic state of talking to yourself. So I look at it as a therapeutic piece, and I think it's a great opportunity to laugh and joke around.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely. The man of the hour for me, Brandon. What's up, bro? What made you want to be a part of a podcast? And after you say whatever your reason is, I want to tell y'all why I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, for me personally, I always felt kind of like I had the gift of gab, right? Like, I'm always trying to do something creative. I mean, as anyone who can see the video feed can see, like, I'm in a recording studio. I've produced music. I've kind of been a part of a podcast before, and usually when you're trying to do something like this, it's kind of hard to pull for topics and keep conversation natural. But in all the interactions we've had, it's been like fluid, right? So you can tell that the energy is there. And then me and Kofi and Rion, like immediately there was like a fraternity kind of interaction, and we all felt comfortable, and it seems like things are gonna go in the right direction. So I hope it's received the same way that we intend to put it out.
I think so. That was not really a worry for me, but it was interesting because when I thought about it, you guys don't know each other. Like you've never been in the same room with each other at the same time. So I was wondering how it would play off with three complete strangers coming together to do something. Off of me feeling like we all could do something because I'm the link. I'm the branch that connects everybody, and I feel like the energy between everybody is just right. If it was like a square each person is a corner in the square, and it works. And my screen is frozen again, so it's it's killing me right now because I'm talking and I feel like I, I'm talking to myself. It's actually okay.
I gotta take this call.
Uh, Brandon, can you wave or something so I can know? If,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
yeah, okay. Rion, can you wave too?
Yeah.
Why is mine? Is my wave normal to you guys?
Yo, bro,
Yeah.
you just gotta stop stealing the Wi-Fi from your neighbors. And
I don't. All right, all right. The first time it was you though, and so now you sending them shots back at me.
Man,
Talking
I
about,
decided maybe I
like,
should pay for my own internet.
I'm about to do it from my phone again because from my phone it was perfect. I didn't have any issues. But are we still going or are we waiting for Kofi to come back?
Nah, I think
Just
stuff is
recording?
gonna happen. We need to. I mean, we got enough of us that we can just roll through it.
Just keep going.
Yeah, true indeed.
All right, I feel like I'm in the studio and
Yeah.
I can only hear you from my headphones, like I'm in a booth and you're behind me, directing me, because I'm looking at the wall. But I lost my. I gotta fix this screen. Yeah, I can't do it like this. Give me 1 second, please.
Oh, this is going to the editing booth.
It has to.
True indeed.
It has to, I'm
We're
sorry.
breaking every rule. We got one screen that's blank. We got a baby that's just gonna be a baby. I'm eating on camera. It's just like
Hey, it's a
You know, it's gonna be a good way to see the transition once it like it's the first episode.
we're gonna be able
it's
to
raw.
we're gonna be able to refer back to this one and be like, yo, remember that?
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
was eating candy.
Yeah. All you kept saying was yeah. That's all. Like I know I haven't said anything else because I'm looking at my screen, and since my screen is moving now, but it's lagging, it's throwing me off because I don't feel like I'm really engaged with y'all the way I want to be engaged with y'all. So I'm sorry if I'm messing up the episode. I apologize.
We're not
Trying
hearing the
to-
same lag you hearing, so I think it's good
Yeah.
to us.
You're not,
And we still see you through the whole thing.
and it's so to y'all it looks perfectly fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, I see you moving fine.
Yeah, that's crazy. I thought that was gum you was eating, but it's not. It's candy.
Yeah, some Sour Patch Hearts.
Oh,
Them Valentine's Day candies.
no. They not paying for this.
Maybe they will one day.
My daughter
love
saw that. She
Yeah,
looking at the screen.
I just want to say how delicious
Yeah.
these candies are. I
Yeah,
recommend.
she heard Sour Patch. She looked
Yeah,
up.
she saw that. She looked
said,
up. She's
what?
looking at the screen right now.
Like, oh, they got those. I didn't know they had those.
Yeah, I'm looking for that sponsorship. I'm
Sour Patch
easily
candies.
bought. Sour Patch, if you listening.
First episode, we promoting Sour Patch, but not.
Yeah, look at her. She thinks you can't get it through the TV, Bobby. You can't get it through the monitor.
Just keep hearing Sour Patch. All right. Let me try and work through
Steer the ship.
through my afflictions right now. It's my turn. It's my turn to say why I'm so excited to be doing this. Doing
Yeah,
this with y'all.
you starting the
and
whole thing up.
why'd you invite us? Yeah.
Why'd I invite y'all? Okay, well, if I start off individually, I'm gonna start with Rion. Rion, it feels like we've always had a certain type of relationship to me that was deeper than it seemed like it was, and it was weird because I always had a lot of respect for you. I mean, like without you knowing it, you did a lot of things for me at a time that I needed you to do those things, and I didn't even have to ask because you was my manager, and that was the beginning of it for me When I started going to court for Austin, and you was helping me with that, you helped me pick out that outfit. You was listening to what I was telling you when I was saying I was going back and forth, and all of those Fridays you let me take off was a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver because I needed to be able to spend that time with him. It was important for me to be able to pick him up, bring him back home, and chill with him because that was the beginning of my new life and interaction with him. And I wanted to establish that from the beginning. Off the rip, I needed him to know that I'm moving to Jersey, but I'm not moving out of your life. You know, this situation with me and your mother is over, but I'm still your dad. It doesn't matter where I'm at or what I'm doing. I'm gonna be here. I'm coming to see you, and you're coming back with me. So you letting me be able to take those Fridays off to be able to do that with him, it meant a lot, though. It was very important when I needed it, and I appreciated it because you did it without hesitation. It was nothing to it. It was genuine, and I felt that. I hold a high regard for you, off of you helping me be able to maintain and build a certain type of foundation with my child, who is very important to me.
Damn, I didn't even know it was that deep. I think I told you before. To
I'm
me, it
a
was
pretty.
just like, to me, it
I'm a
was just like, we
yeah.
human beings first, and we got
hmm
stuff handled outside. So, I know that there's a managerial aspect and a business aspect of certain things, but like I said, you human beings first, and you used to handle yours. So at work, why wouldn't I look out for you? I didn't know it was that deep. I didn't know there was so much behind
Nah, nah.
it.
I'm a deep individual. You know, I think about things, and maybe that's my gift and it's my curse a little bit, but it was deep because it so happened to connect me with Austin, and
Mhm,
Austin is very important to me. So that plays a part in the deepness. Where yeah,
mhm.
you're just doing something to where it's like you're treating another human being the way you feel like they should be treated.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty much.
at the time, it's like it meant the world because you was helping me do something that was the most important thing in my life at the time.
Mhm, mhm,
It plays a part in me as a person, as a man, and wanting to make sure that I could continue to be the type of father that I wanted to be to him,
mhm,
to represent the type of person that I wanted him to see. And you helped me do that. If I had to just be picking him up and dropping him off and not being able to see him, and it's a whole new place, and I'm not there, that
mhm.
would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. So I respected that. That's what made it that deep, and I respected you as a person on a different level. It wasn't just like because you did something for me, I was like, all right, he's a cool dude. I always felt like you were a cool dude because you were smart, you were militant about being black. Honestly, you stood on that. That was important to you. It was a real thing. And I was all right now. All right now. I respected that. So that was probably the main reasons why I wanted you to be a part of it because you already represented something that I respected, and I had a certain type of relationship with you that I felt like it could go further. I felt like if
Mhm,
it wasn't work and we were starting to get to know each other as men and as individuals, not the character that you saw me as when we were working together,
mhm,
that we could build on a different level. And you were somebody that I wouldn't mind building with. Like I got to a space in life where I wanted to be in contact with a certain type of individual. I wanted to
mhm,
have a certain type of energy around me and a certain type of person that I'm in constant communication with because that's the energy I'm chasing. You represent my idea of the choose to inspire, not destroy vibe, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
You
damn.
dig?
Dang.
Oh, I got a damn. All right. Mr. Producer, you gotta like be able to drop bombs or something. When I drop a bomb, I need to hear hear it in my headphones, like, oh, he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. He's going in. I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
Yo, I'ma add them.
I guess since Kofi,
I got you soon. For the next episode, I'm gonna make sure I got the effects board running.
I can dig it. I can dig it. We gonna just keep rolling as we go along. It's gonna get better and better, and they're gonna enjoy it more and more. And it's just gonna get deeper and deeper. Kofi, I don't know. Should I do him and he's not here, or should I just do Brandon?
Let's switch to me. If Kof winds up not being able to make it back for the rest of the episode, we'll push his introduction into the next episode.
Oh, okay. I thought you was gonna say we'll take his screen out and just put us three up there.
I mean, I could do that.
Could you,
Yeah,
you could do that?
yeah, I'll do that.
Because then maybe I'll be able to see y'all moving again, and it won't look like this. Because right now, I still feel like I'm like in the studio, just facing the wall, and y'all producing me. So if I look crazy, that's why. So every now and then, I need y'all to be like, all right, like, I don't know, tap something, so I know it's still going well. It's okay. I don't look crazy, because on my screen, I'm like 4 seconds back in time.
Nah, you good.
But
You good.
all right. So B, where do I start? Why did I ask you? Before I even get to why did I ask you, why do we even have, like, why are we in contact? I think is a better place to start, because we're not around each other. We haven't spent years talking or being in the same place, sharing mutual friends, anything like that to keep us in contact to where we would end up coming to this point, or even having a relationship. You know, you're my son's mother's brother.
Yeah.
And aside from that, that's how far back it goes, because he's about to be 21 in May.
Wow.
So that's
Dang, son.
yeah. I'm about to have a
21-year-old.
21-year-old. Like, I'm about to have a man, actually. Like,
Dang.
so that's how far back I guess our thing goes from. And I never thought about it until we started doing this, where it was like, you were my brother, you know, you were her brother, and she was my first real experience with love and loving a girl and having that type of connection and vibe. And as much as I loved her, I loved everything that came with her. I loved you. You were her brother, so you were my brother. You were my little brother. And I think that's why I acted the way I acted a lot of the time when I did see you, because I'm not gonna front like, you know, we hung out, we was around each other, but I remember the times, and I remember every time I saw you, it was a love to it. It wasn't fake. It wasn't like, oh, you my sister's man, or anything like that. It was always me and you. It was never me and her, and you came in through that, and I respected that. Like, I thought about it, and I was like, damn, Brandon was my brother. He is my brother, and I see the type of individual he's become. Like, he's a man. He's not that kid no more. And even though, again, we weren't around each other all the time, and I didn't see the process of your progression, I see what it looks like it's become, what it's led to.
Appreciate that.
And I got a ton of respect for you, dog. And I salute you on that, on the man that you've become and how you held it down. You know, like, I don't gotta know the middle. I don't, because I know what it was like when it was really starting off. you know, and every time you was popping up, you was doing something, you was doing your thing, you was in and out. It was like, all right, he good, he cool. He's the one that is gonna go over there. He got his head on straight, and you did that. So it only made sense to me when I said, oh, I want to start doing this. You know, I want to keep chasing a certain energy, because every time we spoke, it was a real conversation. It was almost like we spent all of those years talking. The vibe, the energy, it was really like this this is George and that's Brandon. Like it didn't matter what our connection was. So that's why I wanted you. Yeah, yeah. It was just like it was back then. And it took me a minute to see it like that, because I process things the way I process them. Like, I'm not gonna front, I'm late half the time. Before all of this, I never took the time to really try and see why things were the way they were in my life and why I was doing the things I was doing. My screen froze again.
Nah, keep going. We got you. You still good?
All right, Kofi is back.
Yep.
Hey, Kofi. At least I could see y'all moving at the bottom. You missed a fire ass introduction.
I'm gonna just touch on what you were talking about while your screen is, giving you some flack. So, I mean, to be real, when I met you, or when you met my sister, right, for what that's worth, I must have been in like the 7th grade, 8th grade, something like that. Like, I was quite small, and like things were always like, I never had like a stable situation. And when you came through, it was probably the most stable, even though it was like crazy, right? And then, as I mean, I'm sure through the episodes, the details will come through, right? Because there'll be episodes on all kinds of health and wealth and well-being issues. But so like every time you came around, it was always a situation where, like, I probably needed a certain thing, right? Like, even if it was like I just needed somebody to like be straight up with me. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm hungry. You would buy a sandwich, right? Or like, yo, my clothes don't look so good. You'd be like, yo, I got a sweater, right? Like little things like that. When you're in your formative years, like, mean a lot. I went through all of high school, like, with one of your shirts being like a staple, right? Like, like out of your closet to mine. I remember juxing them, right? So, like those type of situations, that kind of energy doesn't like dissipate, right? Like, you remember those people who held you down when you needed someone to hold you down. So, like, that's why it always stuck the way it stuck with me.
Oh yes. Everybody just move, please, real quick. Just give me a wave. All right. Everybody's frozen on your end, Kofi?
Nah, nobody. Oh, wait, well, I got Kofi muted. My fault. Kofi, I had you muted because you were doing a phone call. I didn't want us to hear you.
No. Everybody's frozen on my end. I can see the 2 boxes at the bottom moving. It looks like the live feed. So, sorry.
Wait, I think. Oh, I got it. Wait. Okay. Oh, I got to go back to Kofi's intro, right? He got to be introduced properly. He deserves that. Give me a second. Let me just get back to what I was. Okay. Yeah. Wow. How did you get her to stop so quick?
I muted him.
With you, man. Oh, I hope so. We don't support.
She about to be the fifth member of the podcast. We need like, like a
Yeah,
little screen.
yeah, a little baby screen. Like she just busting up in the spot. But okay, Kofi. Where do I start with you, man? Why I wanted to do this with you? Honestly, because you're my guy. Oh, sour punch, whatever it is. Another endorsement. Hey, hopefully we'll get there. But you looked out for me, not even in a physical way, if that makes sense. But it's weird because when I was so stressed about everything else that was going on in my life, me and you started to connect on that level of you was understanding my mental space, like, but you never really asked. You know, we didn't talk about a lot of that stuff. We kind of just hung out. You was coming to get me. You was coming all the way from the Bronx, and we was chilling. And just you helping me with that. It always stayed with me. It always took our friendship to another level, to where I felt like I could bond with you, other than knowing you from work, or you didn't even care about work. It just so happened that we worked together, and we went from that situation to being friends to, okay, he's cool, but we work together, to he's cool and we don't work together, and now we're hanging out outside of work, and we're hanging out, and you ended up being at my wedding. And that wasn't by mistake. You know, like, people don't ask you and want you to be a part of their wedding because they just trying to fill a spot. It's not like playing ball and it's like, oh, we need one more. You know, like,
Yeah.
come through. That was something that, it was very specific to me, and I wanted you to understand how I saw you, no matter how I act, because I know I'm like super dysfunctional with my behavior, but on the inside, I wanted you to get that. I wanted you to understand that you were my guy, and I respected you, and I respected you as a friend and as a man. And that's why I wanted you to be a part of this, because I felt like you brought something to it. You've always had a certain type of energy about you, to where I felt like all right, like he's cool. You know, like, he's smart, he's funny, he play ball, he's a regular guy. And when you're a certain type of person, maybe not a certain type of person, but when you're the type of individual I didn't connect with a lot of people. It wasn't a lot of friends. It wasn't a lot of people I felt like I wanted to be around and I wanted to talk to, and I wanted to spend my time with. It. Me and you, we ended up doing a lot of things together. And it was what I needed, and I appreciated it, and I appreciate you. So if I never thank you, I'm thanking you now, dog. I'm very excited, and I'm happy that you're a part of this, and it's gonna be fire. Trust me, it's gonna be fire. People are gonna love it. They're gonna love it because it's so unexpected. Nobody could see it coming. Nobody.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoyed the times. I just enjoyed whatever time we hung out. Honestly, whether it was just random. Didn't we go to like a bunch of like speakeasies like in a weekend and stuff? Just random stuff like that, or showing up to Sherry's restaurant with your brother. And
he stole a glass. You could say it. He stole a glass. My brother, he's a bus driver, by the way, so I don't understand why he felt the need. But we went out to eat to it was like a burger place. The food was really good too. I enjoyed it. And Kofi asked me, "Hey, did your brother take a glass?" And I was offended at first. I was like, "Wait, who takes a glass from an establishment?" You know, like, we would have saw him. We would have saw him finish whatever he was drinking and take that glass. So I still don't know how he got it out, but he got it out. So I guess you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, the crazy part about it is that that wasn't the first time we've eaten there. And the owner, like, I know the owners personally, like, she was a college roommate of mine and like a good friend of mine. So like, had he been like, hey, I really like this glass, I'd be like, yeah, sure, have it. But like, it was like Mission Impossible, I guess, for him to take it, and it was something as simple as if you want it, just ask them and they'll give it to you
Yo,
because
bro.
they already like comp meals and all that stuff. So
Yeah, bro, when you said this wasn't the first time, I thought for sure you was gonna say this isn't the first time I stole the glass. For sure, I thought you was gonna
Oh,
say
no,
he
no,
does
no,
who knows? Who
no, no,
knows?
no. He's not. As far as I know, he's not a notorious glass stealer. So
Who
I'm like,
knows? You go to his crib, he has like a trophy wall full of glasses he's taking from
yeah,
places.
he might be. I wouldn't put it past him if he did that.
He got like that old red
Oh.
Sizzler cup. He's like, yo, TGI Fridays. He's like, ooh.
I was very offended. I was about to be like, "What? Like, where you get off asking me if my brother took a glass from somewhere? Like, how dare you accuse him of that?" And he did it, but I can admit he did it. So, hey,
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
It is what
And
it
the
is.
funny part was, Sherry and them weren't even upset. They were like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Sorry," and I don't remember if we returned it or whatever the case was, but there was no love lost at all. They're just like,
It was over for that glass. Like, I get that back. What do you mean, bring it back? What do I even look like? Ask him, like, bro, they want the glass back. Nah. Brandon, this logo,
Yeah.
that's what I'm staring at right now, honestly, because everybody's frozen on my screen. So all I'm looking at is the logo. And you did a great job. I'm digging it because even the way you got the words, it looks like a light bulb.
Yeah,
It's
I just
perfect.
need to I need to invert. I need like a white version. Like we need like versions that are more easy to see against the different
Yeah, yeah,
colors
yeah.
happening on the
Mhm,
screen. But
mhm.
we'll get it. We'll get it. We're working on it.
Yeah,
That's official. That's official. I like it too.
yeah, it is. It adds to my excitement because you know when you're thinking about something and it's kind of just an idea and you feel like it could be a good idea, but it's still just an idea. It's different when you see it. When you see it starting to turn into a real thing, it's starting to unfold, and it makes it even more special and exciting when other people feel like they see it too. You know, because you guys are taking time out of your lives to be a part of this, to do this. Like this, you're not just walking around or in your car or in the kitchen doing like you sat down, Rion went out and got equipment. Brandon, you're taking the time to it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So for me, it's extremely exciting to be able to talk, to be able to shed the old skin, because I feel like that's what choosing to inspire and not destroying is about. It's just about getting rid of that dead weight, that old skin, and and moving forward, choosing the things you feel like you really want and the things you want to do, and not tearing anything down. I feel like I've spent an eternity always tearing things down, always trying to find a reason why something didn't work or why something bad was happening or I'm angry. I'm just in a sour space. I'm a sour person, and I don't think I'm a pleasure to be around at that time. And you start to notice it about yourself. You start to be able to look back. And COVID, for me, COVID opened my eyes to everything in my life, everything I needed to see, everything I needed to see, from the type of husband I was to the type of person I was to the type of parent I was. It forced me to only be able to look at me and to be like, okay, dog, like you never had the time to sit back and think and analyze yourself and deal with you. You're always trying to deal with something else. You got all of these distractions to keep you from actually dealing with the things you're dealing with, the things that you're walking around and you're hiding, you're acting like everything is okay. Yeah, sometimes things are are good. It's not like it's bad times all the time, but you want to deal with those bad times. And COVID, yo, it was like a shock. It was almost like a light bulb went off, like a ding. Like you finally gotta just go ahead and say you need help. Say you need people around you. You need to connect. You need to vibe. You need to have a certain type of energy to help lift you up out of that space, because it's not fun down there. You don't want to be down there no more. You wanna be in the light. You want to smile and it be a real smile. You want to look in the mirror and be happy about what you see in the mirror. No matter what's
Mhm.
going on, you want to feel like you belong and you're not pretending, because you could pretend, you could fake the funk as much as you want. You've been doing it. You've been walking around acting like everything was fine and things are all good and you don't have a care in the world, or you're just up and down, but on the inside you're an emotional wreck. You're just all over the place, feeling like you got a ton of bricks on your shoulder all the time, and you can't just express that. So you hold on to it and you try to figure it out. You read books, you watch videos, you do all of these things. Like, and if it sounds crazy, I went through the process of all of these thoughts. I'm always in thought. It's the almost the worst thing ever to live inside your head, because it's almost like nothing else around you matters, because you're always in here. Like you can't. It doesn't. You wake up, you're in your head. Go to sleep, you're in your head. You wake up today, feel like $1,000,000. 3 hours later, you feel like negative $1,000,000. You know, it's the most emotionally and mentally draining thing ever, and quickly to do that. It forced me to say, all right, dog, like you find who are you? Really, what's your problem?
Mm.
You know, what got you down so much? What do you need? Who do you need? What are you gonna do to be better and move forward? Because you have to move forward. You know, there's no, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna be like this forever. No, you got a wife, you got these kids. You need to be happy inside. You deserve that. You know, like that's something that should be mandatory. Everybody gets happiness, no matter what.
Yo, can I ask you a
It,
question?
it shouldn't be.
You you
Yeah,
you touched on how COVID made you like reflect on some things and like realize who you were as a dad, and a lot of positivity came from it, right? But one of the things that I noticed kind of recently, maybe this week or something like that, is that like I was feeling the same way, but recently my daughter had asked me to play some dolls with her, and I noticed that I started like pushing it off. Like, oh, I just played dolls with you. I just like it made me like you start to notice how often you've been doing something because you're
mhm,
like kind of stuck in a moment, and you're not
yeah,
like you're less enthused to do something that you might have been doing more gingerly before, like without as much worry. Have you found yourself like feeling any negative from like being in that routine also?
yeah, all the time. That's a part of the struggle for me, of feeling like I'm just trapped in time. Like every day, it it's the same in a sense. I have to create a different version of my day to be able to function, if that makes sense. Like I know for me right now, Monday and Friday is the same day. Every day in between, it's like there's no difference, and that's a part of the struggle when you're used to always doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Like you never have time to sit down and do those things that now you might feel like, oh, I like this is getting old, this is getting boring. But depending on how much of that you did before, it might not be so boring. Like to use the same example with the dolls, for you, it might be something that you were already with your daughter. And that's another thing I respect, by the way. Let me step aside and get to that for a minute. As a father, it seems like you're a tremendous dad. You're
Thank you.
very in tune.
Appreciate that.
You're very in tune with your child, her needs. You're a man's man. You're a black man's man, and I salute you, King. Like 100% respect to you as a dad, because that's very important to me. That's another part of my reasoning for wanting y'all to be a part of this. The whole parenting aspect of it, being dads. Kofi, you stepping up, being the dad. Rion, you being a dad, you loving your daughter. Like love that I'm gonna be using that a lot. I'm sorry, because that's it's a huge part of all of this for me. I'm not gonna front. It's love set me free. I COVID sent love into my life in a sense, and it set me free. And it might sound crazy. It's unfortunate that COVID has been such a disaster for so many people. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh, it's not a big thing. Oh, it's not so bad. I'm just saying, for me, COVID, it has been a blessing. It's introduced all of these things into my life that I needed to see at the time. I needed to see them. So I can't act like it wasn't good.
Yeah.
My
What?
screen
You fellas,
froze
any
again.
either of you have anything to add to that? Anything to touch on that?
No, I completely understand him where he was coming from when he talks about like always in his head. I'm a person that's always in my head too, but not like I'm going through trials and tribulations. It's more so I just think a lot of shit. Like, I'm just always thinking, so I'm always in my head every minute. Like
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't trust too many people.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know that's it. In reference to COVID and trials and tribulations and stuff like that, I honestly could say COVID didn't really affect me for 2020 that much. I've been going through some new shit, but didn't really affect me the way how it affect the rest of the world. People losing jobs, things like that. Um, but I guess we'll talk about the effects or what people been going through, or what we've been going through with COVID later. But now I understand where he's coming from with that always in the head thing.
Yeah.
My man.
I understand where you're coming from with always in the head thing. I think it's very raw of you to be, completely honest with like the stuff you were going through. Um, it sounds like a lot of, what you hear about on the news with people, regarding what people are going through, and then you're sometimes like, oh, I don't know anybody going through that. So it's really awesome that you were able to admit that. I mean, I'm not gonna like. Sometimes I'll get in my head, but honestly, I don't know. I'm. It's weird because like this whole working at home thing or just being home thing doesn't bother me.
Uh,
I
Yeah, we're hearing an
yeah.
echo on you,
All right,
bro.
yeah, I can hear
Sorry.
echo now.
I'm trying to mute you on one of the feeds so it only shows up once. All right, we good. We good.
Um.
Nah, he's mad delayed. Wow.
Yeah, I think you added a second camera, right? So that second camera is probably picking up feedback from your other camera because there's another.
yeah, yeah, I see. That was my. You could hear it too. All right, let me fuck Am I better now?
No.
I mean, it's not great.
All right,
Okay.
Rion. We both got strikes for messing up the first.
Yeah, next time maybe
So I was saying,
we'll
Brandon,
try and
sorry.
use FaceTime to see if that alleviates some of the issues, assuming everyone's using either a Mac, iPad, or something just iOS compatible. But sorry to interrupt, Kof. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. It's all right. I was just gonna say, I guess I'm kind of weird in this situation. Like, I look forward to working from home, because like I'm like, pfft, I don't need to be in the office. I don't really need to go outside. Like, I miss seeing people, but like I kind of look at it like, go outside, see somebody, and die, or sit at home and watch TV and catch up on all the stuff that you've been paying for. You never got a chance to use anyway. And I think this is also an opportunity. Like, if you're bored at home right now and you pay for Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Showtime, Stars for Power, what have you been doing this whole time with all that? Right? The time that you actually need to use it, there's no reason to have it if you can't find something to watch. Example, Netflix has a new movie every week this year. If you're bored, right, just in general, then there's that's a you thing, and that's cool. Then cut Netflix. Save yourself $17, $200 a year, put that in an investment account, and retire happy.
What if you just want to watch it occasionally?
Then
Like,
sign
I
up
don't
for
wanna
that month.
watch
Get your-
TV 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like,
No, that's
after a
cool.
while,
I
I'm
guess my
too
point is,
beat up.
if you want to do that, then sign up for the month, get your fix,
Mm.
right, and then
Be in and out.
unsubscribe. Yeah.
You just
Oh,
you just
okay.
cost us our Netflix
You're one of
sponsorship.
those people.
Netflix, I just want to say he doesn't.
Yeah, he's one of those people.
I mean,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh, just watch the stuff you want to watch and then get rid of it.
Yeah.
No, you can't do it
the
like
views
that.
and the views and opinions
Listen.
expressed in this segment do not.
Yeah.
listen.
Black,
I will tell you this,
black
like,
is stream. Black that part of the
we
screen. It's frozen on my end, but
we in our house we have we have all of those services under a scrutiny, right? A microscope that's scrutinizing all of them, and like the one that's been able to keep us hooked has been Disney Plus. We're Marvel fans, and we watch all of the shows. If you're not watching WandaVision, I don't know what you're doing, because it's crazy. The last episode, I was like a bowl of tears because she's heartbroken. So, but like, you need to put on compelling programming to make me watch. Another thing we just bought was what is it? The Discovery Network, like that, where it has like TLC and like all of that stuff rolled into one. And I'm hooked on Chip and Joanna's Magnolia Network that's on there.
Yo,
free I don't know why.
Free game for anyone who tunes into the podcast. If you're a Verizon subscriber, Verizon is giving you a year of Discovery Plus. Just if you have their unlimited plan, so just log into your account and you should be able to get a free year of Discovery Plus. Verizon, I need that.
That's
check,
pretty
baby.
dope.
Oh,
So, yeah, I just think it needs to be more compelling programming. Yeah.
I was about to say, wait a minute. I'm connected to Verizon already, but okay, Verizon.
A little commercial
He
right
said.
there.
Yeah, he just threw that in. I like that.
Yeah. So that's it. That's my spiel.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you to an extent, meaning like you shouldn't be home bored. I mean, I watched all the episodes I could possibly watch on Netflix. I caught up. I even watched Tom and Jerry last night on
I watched it with my daughter.
HBO Max.
How was it? I was about to watch it.
It was cool, man. It was cool. They did it justice.
Yeah, it was good.
I almost feel like all the characters now. Yeah, I almost feel like all the characters now are black. Like Jerry was in there. They were all listening to black music.
Yeah.
They brought back the cat that used to bully Tom, and he sounds straight up black. I was loving it. I was in black heaven.
They know what's up. They gotta put us to everything. They trying to make it right. They gonna let us.
He was listening to, I think, like old school Jodeci inside his thing. It was crazy. It was crazy.
In regards to that, it just I was having this conversation with my wife, and it feels, I'm gonna be honest, like, and open, it feels weird now, right? When you see every commercial that has us represented,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I'm looking at that sideways, like, where was this energy before? Like, oh wow, a commercial with us and there's no music playing to sell us something? That's pretty cool, but like, it feels like it's it's like this like push, even though it's good, it just feels really weird. Like, we're gonna find whoever
It's
we can
because
find that's black, right?
it's a heavy push, and it's a heavy push in every direction. And this is probably another topic that I'm probably gonna get muted on a bunch.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
heavy
yeah,
push in every direction, meaning like it's a heavy push for black, it's a heavy push for the transgender community and the non-conformant community. They're changing comics, they're changing. You do know the next Guardian of the Galaxy Star-Lord is now bisexual. You know what I mean? They changed it up. It's a heavy push
Pansexual.
for everything. Yeah, it's a heavy push for everything now, but I think it's an okie doke. Meaning like, yeah, they put us in all these little things, but where's the stuff that we actually need? You know what I mean?
yeah,
But that's a whole nother segment. That's a whole nother segment.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I was having a conversation about representation at work, and I won't name the company that I work for. And one of the questions I brought up, and my company is like all about representation, and I was like, well, when I look at these other companies, you hear things like we're making sure that 30% of our staff. I'm talking about external companies, are African American or something like that. And I'm like, but nobody ever follows up with them, one, to see if that actually happened. But then two, what percent is that 30? Like, what level of employment is that 30%? Like, there's a retailer that said that last year during everything that was going on, and I was like, okay, that means they're going to hire and make sure that 30% of the janitors are African American.
Pretty
It's great,
much.
but
Pretty
like
much.
none of
They
like
filled their quota.
none of the C-suite executives, right? So like, yeah, it's interesting. That's why I look sideways at, again, these commercials, because I'm like, okay, we're in commercials, right? You hired a bunch more like lower level managers, but like, where's the C-suite executives?
Yeah.
Where
So
are the the step below that? Where are the directors?
yeah, I don't know if you are. I mean, you're probably aware, but
Yeah.
the bank recently, maybe it was Wells Fargo, who like stepped in it when they were pressed to add more black representation to their leadership, and they basically said there were no qualified black people. I was like, oh, okay, great.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that the company that allegedly created a bunch of fake accounts to charge people?
100%.
Surprised they're still allowed to operate. Could you imagine if I stole somebody's identity and then charged them from their bank account for it? Like, it's just like just the level of like, well, it was a bank, so they didn't really steal their identity. No, that legitimately is stolen identity. Like, you open something in somebody else's name without their consent. Like, I don't know how else, like, how that can be misconstrued under the guise of law.
Because the rules
Ultimately.
only apply to poor people. The rules only apply to the individual and to the poor people. Rules don't apply to the wealthy or businesses.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Look what just happened with Robinhood.
No.
Yeah.
If that wasn't geared towards just wealthy people, and they still doing it, locking a hair.
Thank God.
I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I think Robinhood always was geared towards wealthy people, because when you look at
But we didn't know that until all this GameStop thing started happening. Because remember, it was always that place where you could like, oh, I don't have enough margins of a share. You know what I mean? Not too many like other things. Like I do with TD Ameritrade. I can't get fractions of a share outside of like Robinhood. You know what I mean? So it was always for like the smaller people that wanted to invest. And then they just showed their tail recently. It was crazy.
yeah. Listen, I don't know what level of investing you're into, but like I trade options, and I knew something was shady with Robinhood and this was like let me see, I started trading with them, I want to say like 9-10 months ago. In my opinion, I should say, that way, if anybody's watching the podcast, we're not liable. But in my opinion, I felt that they were shady when if you ever go to trade options, right? Like there's like a whole survey you have to fill out and what's your risk, whatever, right? Because they're like highly speculative and very like I lost $600 last week trading options, in like a day. But outside of the survey, like if you were with TD Ameritrade and you were if you enabled the option trading, if you were to transfer money, unless you had it in a TD Ameritrade account, checking account, transfer money into that investment account for options, it would take 5 days for that money to clear, right? Right. As opposed to if you were just going to invest it in common stock, you'll probably get it cleared in like 2 days or a day. Robinhood, you can go to buy a stock option, and if you don't have the money in your account, you'll enable the auto transfer for that amount, and then they'll say, "Oh, auto transfer initiated," but we'll lend you we'll front you the $600, $700 that you need to make this trade right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, it's a new way of doing business, but like giving somebody instant cash, I get it, right? It's like options.
Well, you always had that margin available investment, like against your portfolio. So that was almost like instant cash in a sense, the margin.
Right. Except with the margin, like you had margin call, there was more scrutiny about it. And what I mean by that, like if you borrow on your margin, ultimately, like you're getting those margin calls when the spread becomes too big, right? Hey, you need to put $10,000 in your account to cover the margin because it's wider than what it needs to be. What happens with Robinhood is you literally like, the money's transferring, and then right. So, but then if you're not somebody that does really well with like balancing your check account, they're trying to take the money out. They've already lent you the money, and then they'll keep trying. It's not like they'll liquidate your investment because you didn't have the funds. So giving that, and the survey was like 10 or 15 questions, but like if you just click yes to everything, then your options enabled. And it's like there's a lot more to options than just taking a survey and understanding. There's a lot more to options than just taking a survey if you actually want to understand it, because you can literally lose your money in 10 seconds. Like it is.
Yeah, I don't mess with options. I don't do that.
So just to steer this conversation a little more towards the focus of the podcast. So what do you guys think about the fact that only about a third of Black households have anything invested in the stock market at all, compared to white households having like 66% of white households having investments in the stock market? Therefore, like when they say the economy is doing great, measuring it by the stock market, that means almost nothing to the Black community.
Yeah, it's educational. Well, to me, it's educational. Meaning, like a lot of the things that are taught in school is not what you actually need in order to survive in life. You know what I mean? Like I would say, I'm using half of what I learned in school pertaining to life right now.
At best. I'm barely touching the math, but I'm invested in stock. You know what I mean? Like I never needed calculus. I still don't need calculus. I'm not Eon, what's his name? So I'm not an engineer. Basically, it's education, things that they don't teach us. Meaning they didn't teach us investments, which would have been great because I didn't get into that until about 10 years ago. They didn't teach us certain things in reference to savings. But then I had the opportunity to go to school in Florida and New York, both half and half. In Florida, when I was in Florida, they taught us all those things. They taught us, they had all this studio equipment, all these things. They had shop, they had handcraft, they had all these things, investment, everything. And when you came to inner city schools, all they had was like, yo, you want to be a part of the basketball team? Shit like that. Yeah. So to me, it's like education and what we're brought up, thinking that the options that we have for us. That's what I.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think, I would agree. It's mostly education, and I don't know if you know this number, but the 33% that you pointed out of African American families, where did they lie in terms of the right? Because if you're dead broke, then obviously like that's still no excuse not to invest, right? Like you figure it out, but some way somehow or at least start educating yourself. But if you're like, if you have disposable income and you can do that and you're not, that's a you thing, because it's very hard for me to believe right now in 2021, unless you're like under the age of 10 or 14, that you've never heard about investing before.
Hmm.
And if you have, and you're hearing that this thing is doing really well, where is the desire to just go to Google and type in what is investing and get millions of articles for you to just start to read and start to get an understanding? And
See, that's the thing.
yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I'm
good.
sorry. No, I was gonna say that's the thing. It's like Phoenix, chill. It's like see, when we grow up, right? You hear investments and you think millions and millions of dollars. And just like you said, if you have disposable income, and people think disposable income is like you need thousands, millions of dollars, when it could just be these $200 pairs of Jordans. And everyone in the hood has $200 pair of Jordans that they could have threw into a stock or some up and coming stock. But it's the mindset, the educational mindset that you need thousands of dollars to start this investment. You need this and this. To me, it just all boils down to the root of like the investment. I mean, the educational part of it. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'm gonna attack the assertion that you just made, because
Okay.
I don't think, I don't think we should be putting as much onus on the victim here, right? So like, true, you don't need a lot of money, but like, when wealthier people say like the pair of Jordans would have made the difference, right? It wouldn't have, right? Like, you can, if you took every pair of Jordans you ever bought in your life and you had invested that money, unless you bought like Google when it was $20 a share, it doesn't make a meaningful dent in your retirement fund, right? Like, the people most people who make that argument, right, of a higher economic scale, are spending a pair of Jordans on dinner, right? Like,
Okay.
they'll say like Bill Gates wears the same jeans. True, but he flies around the world, eats expensive dinners. He didn't know how much like a microwavable pizza was, or like a gallon of milk, right? Like, he thought like some of these things were $50, right? So like, saying like we need to stop buying Jordans, I agree, right? Like, I don't think you should be putting yourself into the negative to show off for the community, and like, don't go poor trying to look rich and all of that. I believe in all of that, but I just don't think like that it fixes the problem of us being underemployed or not having like proper compensation.
Well, that's to me, in my sense, that's two different subjects, meaning underemployed and proper compensation. But to go back to the whole Jordan thing, so let me put it into perspective, and I'll put like some of my stuff out there, right? I'm not a type person that buys a shitload of clothes. I'm fortunate to have a girlfriend that works for Nike, where I get my Jordans from for free.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you.
You
for
know,
telling
What
me.
does she
Sorry.
do for Nike?
Thank you.
Oh.
What
Very
does
important.
she do for Nike?
So
Yes.
we got
I'll tell y'all off of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell y'all.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty much.
She's
George
a
knows
blessing.
already.
Are
She's
you
a
living in
blessing.
Beaverton, Oregon?
She's a
well,
blessing.
she's made trips to Oregon, so
The packages
My God.
come quick.
let me put it out there. So I do have to say, in my perspective, it is the Jordan thing. Meaning, like, I didn't start off with a lot of money, but once you learn just a small minute of investing, meaning like I started saving these $200 that I would spend on like a video game, right? And I have a shitload of video games. That's my vice. That's my hobby, right? I'll save like $200 here, $200 there, $200 there, right? And then I put that into into the stock market. And I'm not buying stocks that already are out of my reach, like Tesla's $600 or something like that. I buy something that I maybe the video game company that it's about researching. And what do you call it? So basically, let me tell you how much I started off with. I started off with like $500, right? That $500 turns into $15,000 because you invest at a low, sell at a high, buy back your stock. It's all strategic saving things. So you could do it with canceling out those Jordans. You could do it. In my perspective.
I'm gonna challenge you to tell me how much a stock has to grow to go from $500 to $15,000 because
So it's not just one stock. You have to develop a portfolio. Oh,
Sure,
you're
but
about to say something, Kofi?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what-
I was gonna say, you know, that's one way to do it, right? Or if you trade options, like for example, right? Real world example. Before I bought into the two options I bought into, and the whole tech crash happened, like what was it, the last week and a half?
Mhm.
We were my buddy and I, we taught ourselves how to actually like trade options. Like we read up on it and we did paper money and all of that, right? So we were debating whether we were going to buy Apple, AMD, or Disney. And something was telling me just buy Disney, but we didn't. We went with Apple and AMD. They were in our zone. We were reading the candles. They're in the buyer zone. The idea is you buy when the banks buy, right? The banks buy and then everybody else follows. So it's kind of like the small fish, big pond idea. Small fish follow around the big fish and eat the scraps, right? You don't want to be a whale. You just want to survive, right? So we bought Apple and AMD, $600 invested, went down to $132 total. Disney, on the other hand, jumped $12, right? And that, what we would have paid $400 for a Disney contract. That contract right now is worth, I think, $3,500. It was worth from $400 to, I think it was $1,800 from Friday to Monday. So you can go the stock route, and I think the idea is you build your foundation. Like like the money that I use for options isn't my retirement money because I don't want to eat cat food when we retire. Like I'm just not like that's my biggest fear. That's so like we don't play with our foundation money. I play with the extra money. But like you can see a jump of I bought a put against the S&P 500 in February of last year.
That's good timing.
And it went down past. I mean, I was in the money. I was up 6,000% in 2 weeks. So to your point, you may not see that with stocks unless you're doing like day trading and microtransactions, but you can definitely see it with options. So there's definitely that wide spectrum.
You just educate yourself on it.
Right. Sure. And you have to understand where your risk is. I think what people need to, I think the most important thing you could ever see in life when it comes to just thinking about investing or retirement is a compound interest calculator. A compound interest calculator puts stuff into perspective. You take that $200 that you were going to spend on whatever it was, Jordan's, dinner, whatever, you put it in there, plug it in, and you say, never touch it again. And you do whatever percent you think you're going to earn, and you realize that in 20 years is $200 and something thousand.
It's not. You've way shot the moon there.
Right.
Otherwise, we would all retire billionaires, right? Because we all have $200 in our retirement accounts.
Depending on your return, right? No, but it depends on your return, and that's the key.
Possible return.
Yeah, and $200, $200,000. Come on.
But no, it's 100% doable, right? Because if you're getting 80% returns from trading options every week for 20 years on that $200, I'm sure you're familiar with the rule of 7, right? Which is I think it's like 12% every 7 years, right? If you get a 12%, right? 12% every year for 7 years, it doubles. If you're getting 80% a week, the potential is there. It's just about sharpening your skills and your comfort zone. That's all. But yes, that's like a master options trader. I'm talking about you're doing straddles, you're doing leaps, you're doing iron condors, right? And you're making money on the up and the down. But it's doable.
It's not just a master trader. It's like the thing you're describing is a unicorn, right? So like there are no, not when I say no, right? Like there's maybe one real world example of someone who trades with that level of efficiency, right? Like there's Warren Buffett would tell you invest in mutual funds, right? Let me rewind for a second.
Yeah,
we are not financial advisors. Speak to your financial advisor if you have any questions. We are not qualified to give any financial advice.
Don't disassociate me with this whole conversation. I have not said anything. So
don't listen to me.
This is the Rion, Kofi, and Brandon segment.
Nah, George. This is all advice approved by George.
But George, you could talk about the black aspect of it.
Sure.
From the middle.
But I mean, we are like, when I say that's a unicorn, right? Like, we are also unicorns within our community, right? Like, we are all some semblance of successful. We are all like investing, and like, these are conversations that we're having amongst each other. But this isn't the typical conversation, the typical like level of success amongst like, we're not the typical 4 random black man pool.
That's a very good point.
You know, we do, and I think intentionally we represent a level of success that, even if it's nominal, like, that we want to try and share with our communities.
Yeah. I will say the one eye-opening thing I had recently with my buddy, he was a finance major at school with me, and when you hear finance major, you're like, oh man, this person must know how to invest. And he was very honest with me. He was like, listen, you know, they at school, what they teach you when you're a finance major is corporate finance, like how to pretty much build reports and project out like the company's like spend or what the EBITDA is going to be. Not here is how options work. Here is how reading candles.
EBITDA, earnings before taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Continue.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. So like, you learn that, but it's still in school. They don't teach you what an option is, or how to actually trade it, or better yet, how to read the candles, which is like one of the most basic things that you can learn when you start to get into trading almost anything, right? Because that's what day traders usually use, right? Because you read the demand again. So I thought that was pretty interesting, because even growing up, I'm like, man, I should have been a finance major, because I'd be out here, you know, working on Wall Street. And he's like, nah, I had to learn this when I went to work on Wall Street. And like, he was like, my finance degree didn't even prepare me for my Series 7 or Series 3 or any of that. And I'm like, what? How much did you spend to go to our school? Like, it's so it's like the best kept secret, but the information is available. It's just a matter of
educating yourself.
Yeah, it's so weird, because it's available. It's not like it's behind some firewall. Like, you can go to investopedia.com and there's literally pages on trading stocks 101. What is a stock? What is an asset? What is a liability? And it's like the encyclopedia of trading, but yet none of this is even taught at the highest levels of education.
Yeah, I think it also
it's kind of crazy.
To have someone walk you through some parts of it, right? So like, I learn a lot from YouTube, right? Like, and picking up things, but even when it comes to like, I built this building that I'm in right now, right? And like, this whole shebang, right? But like, when I bought my home, I had a neighbor show me how to use a miter saw, right? Like that first cut, right? Like that I would have never got to this point had I not had someone like just baby step me through the first part. So like, you know, resources and people is equally as important.
We live in the information era. So
that's one of the things.
You got to get lucky enough to have a neighbor that actually wants to show you something.
That's one of the things I think we lack in Black community. Meaning, how could I? I'll just use an example. Like, you grow up in Crown Heights and you see Jews, Arabs, everyone, Chinese. They're all passing down like this information free. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like a given. You grow up in this community, you're getting this shop. I'm gonna teach you how to do this. How many times you go to the corner store and you're just like, oh, what is this 11-year-old doing behind the corner, doing behind the thing, ringing me up? It's because he's learning the shit. You know what I mean? What is this? What is this? You know, but we don't do that. We lack that, and I get it. It's our history, and you know, things that we got to overcome. But that's one of the things that we don't do. We're not passing on the knowledge the way we're supposed to.
But from which side? Like, I feel like when you're talking about us as a people, it's like two sides of the coin, because you have a group of people that just don't do the things like you're talking about. They don't invest. They don't care to invest. They don't know about that. That's not groomed into them from the beginning. And for them to have some sort of experience with that and to even to think like, okay, long term enough to say these Jordans can put me there if I don't get these. If I don't
Well,
do this, then years from now I can be in this space. Like that set of people I feel like is geared more towards a I want it now. I'm not waiting for it to grow and turn into
mhm,
something. And they don't understand that the growth and the later end result is you're supposed to play the long game. Like
mhm,
you should want to
Delayed
do that. Set
gratification.
yourself up, set
mhm,
your family up,
mhm,
and learn and do that because that's the way you should be going. And I think it's
yeah,
just two sets of people.
Well, I think we have like we can't forget the fact that we come from a vulnerable community where
mhm,
a lot of people don't expect to live that long, right? Like
Hmm.
to see
Hmm.
those days. So like they
Hmm.
believe YOLO, right? Like you live for the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah,
right? So like
yeah.
telling someone who's seen like their close friends pass away before 21, like you
Hmm.
need to prepare for when you're 50, 60. It's like
Hmm.
they just look at
It
you
doesn't,
silly. Like
yeah,
why would you,
yeah, yeah.
like
It
why am I
doesn't hit.
preparing for days that I may
Yeah,
never see?
yeah.
mhm,
Like
mhm.
for what? Why am I thinking that far ahead? I'm not even familiar with other people that thought that far ahead. Like it's just the type of person and I think it's the homes that we're setting up now with the types of people you are because it could be a family and a set of people that they don't have the experiences that I guess you could say the people with more education and the people living a better life would have. But you instill the things that you can in your family. In that family, you take those ideas and you learn about that. So you can put that in your environment. And you can
Well,
start to manifest that, and your kids will understand it and they'll pick it up and they have the opportunity to start from young,
Hmm.
to be educated. So when they get to that time and that age they could be in that room even if you're not in that room and you didn't come up in that thought process and that wasn't your path. The
mhm,
goal should always be for that to be where they go.
yeah.
And as
Yeah.
long as it gets there, then I could live with that.
Well, I guess this is why this podcast is or this streaming thing is needed because it's not too many like this where you have a bunch of people talking about where they came from, the experiences that they had, so other people could identify with it. You know what I mean? Because before this, we all grew up in the hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I came from the '90s in East New and well, not East New York. That's Brownsville, right? '90s. That's Brownsville.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so and this wasn't given to me. This was just me seeking things out. So just like you said, you need people to identify with, and maybe that's why this is needed. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think, you know, in our community, we need to do a better job of being open to questions, right? Like we don't talk about money very much, or I shouldn't generalize. I think that happens in every community, right? There's always like a sector of any community that's not open to talking about money. But like I've started with peers of mine that I went to school with that look like us. I'm on a group chat and I started like showing a bunch of them like, hey, what does your portfolio look like? Do
hmm
you want to
hmm
eat dog or cat food when you 40 years from now, 30 years from now, since we're in our mid 30s? No? Okay, well, what are you doing about it? Oh, I just kind of left money in a savings account. Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but let's sit down. I'll show you what I did in the last year. Um, I'll show you what the return was in percentage versus, possibly something that, whatever you got. And if this intrigues you, I will show you the foundation. I'm not going to give you any answers. I'm not going to answer any questions about what you should invest and what you shouldn't. I want to at least take you to the
hmm
library
Hmm.
and get you a library card so you can start your journey here. And I do that every Sunday now. I'm like, listen, this is, and the people that have picked it up now, we're texting during the week. Yesterday was a red day, time to go shopping. oh, yesterday was green. Looking at this play, thinking about that. And I have some that are, ready to start trading options. And I'm like, listen, it took me 6 months and a bunch of paper trading to really understand the concepts behind it. So I'm not going to tell you if you're ready or not. You need to figure that out on your own. But at least build your foundation in the meantime. Build your foundation, set it, check on it, and through that you'll start to understand how that stuff works. But I think it starts with the question: show me your portfolio.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with both your parents, Kofi? If you don't mind me asking, your mom were your mom and your dad together at any point while you were young?
Nope, not at all.
So
it was just my mother and my grandmother.
Did you have a relationship with your dad?
No, I met my dad. So I guess when I was born, my dad was around till I was 2, but I don't have any memories of that. I met my dad. I was 25.
Wow.
When I met him.
Okay.
And it's crazy because I had a buddy that I graduated from Syracuse with. He was working in DC at the time. He went through Syracuse on a ROTC scholarship. Cool dude. He was doing something for the government and working in DC. And he had a place on H Street across from Union Station. So I guess my mom had spoken to my dad a couple of times leading up to that. So there was one weekend where I was down there, I was kind of hanging out with him. And on my train ride back home, I got this weird voice message from like this weird 646 number. I was like, what? And I kid you not, my dad is African. So as soon as he said my name, I was like, oh, I think I know who this is. And he was just like, give me a call back when you get a chance. And from that, I called him back, and he lived in Alexandria, which is like pretty much Manhattan to the Bronx for DC to Virginia. And like ever since then, I had gone down there a bunch of times, hang out with my buddy, hang out with my dad. And that's when I started to build a relationship with my dad. But I didn't know my dad after 2 years old until 26.
I just was wondering. I wanted to know because for me, all of that was a part of the whole idea of wanting to do this and wanting to do it with you guys, because I guess in my own personal journey of what I'm trying to accomplish, it was the relationship you had with your families. It was Rion, as far as his situation, Kofi, Brandon, all of you individually, and I feel like
because I don't know my dad.
Yeah, I see. I'm learning these things. I do, but I've never had a relationship with him until it was later on in life, until I was an adult, and all of that is gonna take some time. But I feel like we'll get there. All of that was a part of my process of wanting to do this and analyzing myself and the whole COVID thing. So I feel like that was a great way for us to start. It was a strong beginning to a first episode of a journey, a journey to get to a place. Hopefully we'll get there together. If we get there one at a time, hey, oh well, we know the rest is coming. I think it'll be a good thing. I've enjoyed myself. I hope everybody else enjoyed themselves. And it's episode 1. Choose to inspire, not destroy. Check us out. Bear with us. We're only going to get better. We're going to decide if the little one needs a mic in her own school. So we're gonna get my screen working so I can see what they see, and I don't feel like I'm just crazy, but I hope it was enjoyable because I enjoyed myself. Kofi, B, Rion, your boy, I appreciate you. Episode 1, we in the books, baby.
Yo, Kofi, you're gonna have to teach me that option trade. I'm gonna have to hit you up on the side for options.
Yeah, no, all jokes aside, seriously, and the invite goes out to all of you guys. If you guys just want to talk stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, options,
I want
by all means.
I'm gonna just give you $200, bro.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it to you 5 times. Break it up. 200, 200. Spread it out.
Yeah, thank y'all for rocking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you was. Yeah. Peace.
Inspire, not
Peace.
destroy. We'll catch y'all
Yes,
next
sir.
time.
Thanks.
Later.
Yo. All right, you stop recording. I can say.